Hello and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. In Dublin, our vision is to be the most connected community, not just with fiber and infrastructure, but through people, neighborhoods, and shared experiences.
So we're launching Good Neighbor Week, a new initiative to highlight the everyday connections that make our city stronger.
That's right, and with us today are two of our favorite neighbors,
Yes,
Christine Nardecchia, Director of Outreach and Engagement, and Mollie Steiner, Recreation Administrator of Corporate and Community Wellness. Welcome back to both of you.
Well, thanks. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Very happy to be here.
Let's start with Good Neighbor Day. It is Sunday, September 28th. What does being a good neighbor mean to both of you?
Knowing your neighbors is step one. It's amazing how many people don't even know their neighbors, only hanging in their backyard. So being in the front and knowing your neighbors.
To me, being a good neighbor means being respectful. And I think this includes grasping the importance of boundaries and showing concern for a neighbor's time and personal space, acknowledging people who value and prefer maybe not so much interaction. Some people don't want to connect and engage with their neighbors, and I think we just have to be respectful of that.
A little history here. President Jimmy Carter first proclaimed National Good Neighbor Day in 1978. The day encourages people to recognize the value of neighbors, to foster kindness, plus show appreciation to people who live nearby. For both of you, tell our listeners about some of your favorite neighbors and what made or makes them special. Mollie, let's start with you.
So I just have a vivid memory of my neighborhood, my old neighborhood. I no longer live there any longer. And it was about 10 years ago when my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. And she spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And as we were driving home, we turned the corner on Emerald Parkway. We're heading north on Dublin Road. And there were signs every 20 feet welcoming her home.
That's
and we
amazing.
turned into our neighborhood in Donegal Cliffs. And there were more signs that continued all the way down the street to our house. And we got to our house and there was just a cluster of friends and neighbors and everybody was there to welcome her home from the hospital.
That is amazing.
And it just showed such a huge amount of not only neighborly love and support, but the whole community in general. And I just will never forget that.
Wow, Christine.
How am I going to top
I
that?
don't think you are going to top that, but
I grew up in a neighborhood where no one spoke English. Everybody lived 5 feet from one another, and it truly was a community, whether you had a need or not. People shared stories, they shared responsibilities. So my favorite memories have to do with being a little kid going house to house and helping all of these women from all over the world with daily chores, and they would give me $50 and dollar pieces, and I saved all of that money and paid for my very first trip to Europe.
No
Oh my
way.
When I was
gosh.
very young. So all of those older women who paid me to do their sweet chores sent me to Europe when I was very young.
wow.
Oh, that's amazing. And, connecting with neighbors doesn't have to be some big official effort. It can be a handwritten card, a cookout, or just offering to help with yard work. Talk about some of those efforts.
Well, yard work is definitely something our neighbors help one another with. They help each other when they go on vacation. We in the city often will get phone calls from our older adult neighbors who need a little help, maybe after a surgery or a life event, who need help clearing snow or who need help clearing leaves. And it is astounding to me when I look at dots on a map, when they become real people, when I pick up the phone and call and say, hey, can you surround and wrap this neighbor with good love? They just need a connection. And I typically hear, I'm glad you called. I don't know that neighbor. I'm going to get to know them by helping them. And it makes a huge difference. And it isn't a one and done thing. It's an ongoing relationship. And we know that for sure.
I love that. So my son will mow all the neighbors' lawns, but our lawn. and it's kind of funny. I see him walking down the street with the mower, but I'm like, and I get it because he's built this connection and this, this cachet with all the neighbors that are a little bit advanced in age, and it's just a good thing to see. So our residents know by now when Dublin does something, we really do it. So we're not just doing Good Neighbor Day, we're doing Good Neighbor Week. It's September 18th to the 28th. So let's walk through some of the initiatives here. Mollie, you want to start us off?
Sure. There will be a Community Connections Challenge card, which will be an opportunity for people to complete various activities. And these activities are encouraging random acts of kindness and connection with others in the neighborhood. There will be 14 total activities. An example of these are things like introduce yourself to a neighbor you don't know, leave a kind note for a neighbor or a mail carrier, or bring in a neighbor's garbage or recycling bin. The cards will be available at any city building and the Dublin Library, and individuals are encouraged to complete as many activities as they can, submit the card for a chance to win some wonderful prizes donated by our local Dublin businesses. And it's just a fun way for people of all ages to perform small acts of neighborliness that can make a big difference in someone's life.
And there will also be a personal care donation drive with our friends at the Dublin Food Pantry. How can people get involved and what's needed, Christine?
Well, personal care items are probably just what you imagine: toothbrushes, toothpaste, things in your bathrooms that people could really use. Doing good does you good. And so doing something outside of yourself is really a wonderful gesture. Talk with your neighbors, maybe challenge them to collect these personal care items. And there will be collection bins at every city building for people to turn them in, and we will be diligently emptying them for the good of the Dublin Food Pantry and One Dublin.
That is awesome. So we also have a neighborhood nomination effort where you can recognize someone in your neighborhood who goes above and beyond. Christine, can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure, we all know a great neighbor. I hope everybody can think about neighbors in their neighborhood and think, wow, that person is always doing for someone, or that person is always there when we need them, or they're just a quiet servant leader. This is an opportunity to really say, hey, I see you, I notice you. There will be nomination forms on the website for Nominate a Good Neighbor, and we will acknowledge that with a handwritten card and send them some swag about being a great neighbor.
That's awesome.
And here's the background to this whole effort, and it's a big one. We have what many experts call a loneliness epidemic in America, and COVID likely made it worse for millions and millions of people. Mollie, in our recent community health needs assessment, we learned some things from our Dublin neighbors. Let's talk about it. How did people respond when we prompted them on the topic of feeling a sense of belonging in Dublin?
I think it was surprising to learn that with all of the great things we do as a city to encourage community involvement and interaction, that we found that 43% of adult residents felt like they belong in Dublin only moderately well, slightly well, or not well at all. In addition to that, 75% reported feeling only moderately connected, slightly connected, or not connected at all to their neighbors. So that was some surprising information.
Were there reasons behind why people did not feel connected?
The main reasons that were stated for those who felt that they did not belong cited a lack of personal connection, a lack of inclusiveness, and no sense of community as reasons why, among others.
So let's flip that. And what were the reasons people did feel a sense of belonging when they reported that?
So it was interesting because some of those same answers were the answers that people felt that they did belong. So the people that reported they did feel like they belonged did report that they felt a sense of personal connection, a sense of community. They also reported the convenience of amenities in the city and an appealing environment.
When people are lonely and have a lack of belonging, that affects their mental health and overall health too, right?
Absolutely. When people are lonely and lack social connections, it can lead to increased health risks, mental health challenges, cognitive decline, and reduced life satisfaction. Humans need social connection because it fulfills a fundamental psychological need for belonging and support, which is essential for positive mental health.
So out of the health needs assessment, we evolved to a new effort called the Dublin Wellness Alliance. And this is an effort not just through the city, but a lot of community partners. Tell us about the Alliance and the work that it's doing and, some of the focus areas.
So the Alliance is a group, like you said, of public health experts, community partners that have all come together to tackle what has been determined as the 4 top health priority needs in the city. And that information came from the community health needs assessment that was done. Those top 4 priority areas that we are focusing on right now are healthcare navigation, transportation, youth behavioral health, and community connections.
Let's expand our conversation even more. The longest study ever on human happiness is still going on at Harvard Medical School. It's been in play for more than 80 years now. So let's talk about a couple of really interesting findings here. So Christine is like ready to chomp it at the bit to jump on this. The number one insight from the study is close relationships and social connections are crucial for our well-being as we age.
Well, they certainly are. And it seems logical, doesn't it, that the more we can expand our social circle, the more support we feel, the more a sense of purpose that we have. And I think that's definitely something as we age that people lose more and more of, is a sense of purpose and a sense of connection to something larger than ourselves. And there have been more studies than we have fingers and toes to count in this room over the years about doing something outside of yourself that really do make you a happier, healthier person, which contributes to longevity directly.
Isn't this true in just about everything? You gotta put in the work. Researchers say those with more positive relationships sought them out. You know, you just can't let people come to you. You've got to go seek out people to interact with.
It's so true. I mean, even if you think of people who are in congregate living environments like a senior living facility, you can still find people who feel isolated and who feel that sense of loneliness unless their social circle, even within that area, and they're making an effort to participate and be social and do more. So you're right. You do have to make an effort to do it. Next Door sponsored a study with Kind about what it takes for people to feel more connected in their own neighborhoods. And they did it in the United States, the UK, and Australia. And they found that the science behind community connectedness was to know at least 6 neighbors. So they started a campaign of know at least 6 neighbors, and you will feel socially connected to people in your neighborhood. And there are so many ways to go about doing that. And we think that Good Neighbor Day and Good Neighbor Week and the activities that we will be putting out there to focus on being a great neighbor will help people to think of ideas and some unique ideas on their own to help make that happen. So 6 neighbors. Thank you.
6 neighbors.
Thank you to Next Door.
I think I could name 6 neighbors, but no, I won't name drop. Well, another major insight, and Mollie, we know this will make you smile. This is from Harvard, and the data is crystal clear. Participants who exercised regularly and maintained a wellness plan throughout their lives were more able to thrive. Yes, thrive in older age. As one sanitarian said in the study, take care of your body like you'll need it for 100 years.
That is absolutely true. And I love that quote. I also like the quote that you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet.
Ooh,
because it shows that a balance,
as you may try,
a balance is needed for optimal health. We all know exercise is important at every age, but as we get older, it's even more important to focus on resistance training, balance exercises, and functional movements that mimic everyday tasks and activities. I think aging gracefully and thriving also includes other healthy habits, like we all know, in terms of prioritizing sleep, keeping your brain active, finding a sense of purpose, like Christine mentioned, and just nurturing those meaningful relationships.
So what if I combine the two? I get 6 of my neighbors, I know their name, and then we go on a walk together.
Perfect.
I think neighborhood walking groups are one of the greatest ideas out there. It doesn't take much to do that. You want to be careful how much you edit and what you say in your invites. We just came from a meeting with some faith-based folks, and one of them is a widow. And she said she's always getting emails from her neighborhood group to go walking or do something social. Can you think of ideas for couples, or can you think of ideas for a date night? And she wants to say, we're not all couples. We all have a different reality. And so our conversation really gave her the courage to reply to those email invites for neighborhood walks and get-togethers to say, gee, maybe we should have a group for people who are single or who are empty nesters or are widows. So you want to be careful about who you're, I guess, convening together to do some of these walks, but they're good for all because it combines the social and the physical aspect.
Well, let me ask you a question too. I'm kind of going off script here, but like, you're talking about neighbors and things, and we have devices that show us and tell us everyone who lives everywhere. What is the proper etiquette now? I just go up to the door, knock on it, and then expect to talk to my neighbor?
Yeah, I think it just depends. It depends on cultures are also very different. We are a global city for sure. And so I think it is very different. I think we have a number of neighborhoods. Is it like 82 HOAs I have lost count, who do put together specific social gatherings and get-togethers. Perhaps getting in touch with an HOA leader would do the same. One thing I don't want people to forget is our condominium complexes, our apartment complexes, and our senior living facilities that are adjacent to neighborhoods. Include them as part of your neighborhood. You can call an activities coordinator or go to the office of one of these apartment complexes or condo complexes and say, how might we become more of a community together? We are now working on a map with our wonderful GIS department that will map the closest of these centers to each neighborhood so people can maybe adopt a senior center for the holidays and continue those one-on-one relationships throughout the year.
Yeah. Now, Bruce, I think if you bake some cookies and you go over and stand in front of the Ring camera.
Let's see, nobody wants cookies that I'm baking.
Well, Christine, you're such a wealth of knowledge on this. Are there some resources or books you might recommend if people want to learn more?
There are lots and lots of books, which is why we love our friendly Dublin library folks. So if you've never used them as a resource, there's such a wonderful reference desk to go up and ask them about books on a topic. I know when I was a kid, it was the Dewey Decimal System. Remember those cards that we used to have to pull out and look and go find in the stacks? Now you can ask a human and look online. But yes, I've just finished a wonderful book by our former Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, called Together. Most people have heard of Robert Putnam's work. He wrote the book Bowling Alone. He also has a fairly recent documentary out. I believe you can catch it on Netflix, called Join or Die, which sounds like a terribly pessimistic title, but it's the science of people who belong to groups and belong to social circles and how that improves their health over time. And he went to places in the world that did this, improved longevity. Some other books that are especially known by our fellow planning associates in the city are The Art of Neighboring, The Connected Community. Another is called The Abundant Community. And another terrific resource is called This Is Where You Belong. And I can't think of a title that encompasses this conversation more than that title, by Melody Warnick. And all of these folks have put a great deal of science and research behind these books.
Well, just great stuff from both of you. And you know, we always end every episode with rapid fire questions. And we're going to stay on the connected and belonging theme here. So as a resident, what's your favorite way to stay connected to your city or your neighborhood?
My favorite way to stay connected to the city is to try one new restaurant or eatery a month.
I love that.
Last week, my two daughters were in from out of town visiting, and so we tried the Coast Wine House for the first time. Enjoyed a glass of wine together and a charcuterie board, and it was just great to spend time together at a new place.
Nice. How about you, Christine?
Whenever I travel, this will tell you what a total government geek I am.
Yes.
But I do connect with their city's website. I think that it's always who they are linked with, the schools. I really do my share of research before getting to know a new city, and I'm always doing that when I travel. And it's the city I go, what form of government are they? What's their history? All those things.
I love that.
That makes me happy, Christine.
You've taught me well, Bruce.
Oh, no. You taught me. All right, let's go Mollie first. Do you have a go-to when you're feeling disconnected? Maybe a walk with a neighbor, a workout at the rec center, or just taking in the sights and sounds somewhere?
My favorite thing to do is to go to Thaddeus Kosciuszko Park, which I love, with my 10-year-old black lab, Lucy, and her gray little face, and she just loves walking the trails there.
Awesome. Christine?
My favorite thing is to get in touch with some of my high school friends in my hometown, and we happen to live about 3 minutes from Gervasi Vineyard. And we will go for a walk there and sit down and have a cafe or a cup of coffee and see the beautiful land there.
Travassi Vineyard is amazing. I love that place. How about a go-to eatery or coffee shop that just brings a smile to your face?
So my favorite place is Fox in the Snow for their amazing breakfast sandwich. If you haven't had it, definitely go try it. It is fantastic.
I'm going to go with the market at Bridge Park, the North Market at Bridge Park. I mean, I just love walking around there and seeing the different people who congregate and gather there, and I've never had a bad meal there. As for coffee, is Sweetwater. That's like a 2:00 meeting spot for me. I have office hours at SW Cafe.
Do you go to the one?
Coffee.
Oh, there's two of them. You're right.
Yeah, the
One at
library or the...
I always go to the one in Bridge Park.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so Lindsay suggested I make brownies, but Christine, what's your go-to way to welcome a new neighbor?
Oh, definitely pizzelle or ricotta cake. Two Italian specialties.
Nice.
I can't match those. So my favorite way is just honestly go out of my way to say hello, introduce myself, and offer help if help is needed.
Nice.
I speak the language of food as the language of love.
All right, last question. Our podcast producer, Scott, says if his sunroof isn't already open, as long as it's over 50 degrees, he opens his sunroof every time he comes off of Route 33 and onto Muirfield Drive just to breathe it in and connect, even in the car, connect that to coming home. Do either of you have a similar routine or ritual?
Trees, trees, trees.
Yeah.
It's always the trees for me. It's a frame. It tells about age. It tells about health of the community. For me, it's the lovely trees, particularly in a city like Dublin.
So I find myself now, we moved out of our Dublin neighborhood a couple years ago, just north of Shawnee Hills into the country. So now when I drive into work, I get to drive from that area down Muirfield Road as well. And I find in the morning with the sun shining, it's just beautiful. And that's my time to just kind of reflect, either talk to myself, either pray about what I feel I need to pray for that day, and just really feel a sense of gratitude.
Wow. Mollie and Christine, thank you for working with residents to create programming here at the city for our neighbors to be good neighbors. And thanks for being with us on Link Ahead.
Thanks for lifting this topic up.
Thanks for having us.
Don't forget, Dublin Good Neighbor Week is September 18th through the 28th. You can find much more at our new website, dublinwellnessalliance.org.
And to our listeners, thank you as well for taking the time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, and grow.